Hello and welcome! My name is Alexander Kalistratov and this is the very first time I'm recording a photography vlog. So I chose a topic which is fun but still very important: the gear acquisition syndrome, which you probably know as the gas. So the gas is a condition when you buy a camera or a lens or another piece of photography gear, then all of a sudden you learn from a friend or from a YouTube video about the existence of another piece of gear, another lens, another camera, and you can't help but you just want to buy this piece of gear, but you're not sure if you need it at all. You can end up spending a lot of money on gear and this money are just wasted for nothing. So the topic of this video is how to embrace the gas. In my humble opinion, the gas happens because it is a big pleasure to buy a new piece of gear. When you unbox a new camera, when you unbox a new lens or something else, you feel like eating chocolate. The sugar bursts into your brain, you feel so excited, you feel so happy at this very moment. And when some time passes, you suddenly realize that you need more. And you become a gear junkie. The first point I would like to pick up on is that there is a big difference between a gas purchase and a reasonable dream. Let me give you a brief example. Back in spring 2023, I was thinking about buying a super telephoto lens for bird photography, and I wasn't sure about it because I was focused on street photography, and doing bird photography is a completely different thing, and I wasn't sure if I actually needed a super telephoto lens. Also, I was a little short of cash. So I decided to go with a cheap alternative, which is not a super telephoto. It was a Fuji 90mm f2 prime lens, which I bought used for $380. I used it for bird photography, which is much a bigger challenge because 90mm, which is 135 full frame equivalent, is quite short for bird photography. When you approach with this lens, birds just run away unless they are very used to people. So after using this lens for several months, I realized that I like doing bird photography. And thankfully, 6 months later, after purchasing the Fujifilm 90mm f2, I earned some money and I decided to buy a Fuji 150-600mm super telephoto zoom lens, which was quite an expensive purchase for me. But now, 1 year later, I have no regrets, because I took a lot of bird photos. Street photography might be something I'm focused on, but bird photography is a different kind of activity. It reminds me more of hunting without hurting anyone, and I enjoy it a lot. It's my safe place. So, if you want to buy a piece of gear, just don't do it immediately. Give it some time, earn some money to buy it, or save it. And then, if this thought isn't gone, probably it's a reasonable dream, it's not gear acquisition syndrome. The second point on embracing the gas, I highly recommend to buy the gear used, especially when it comes to lenses. My experience is that when you buy your gear used, you enjoy the process of finding the best deal. Also, I would take into account the inflation, because if you buy some lenses early, which will serve you for decades, you're probably saving some money. Because, for example, I bought a Fuji 90mm f2, as I've already mentioned, for $380, which is very cheap, and it's very hard to find such a deal today. Or I'm recording this video on Fuji 33mm 1.4 LMWR lens, and I bought it for, I guess, $500. I can't find any deals like that right now. I think it might depend on the country you live in, but still, if you find a very good deal on a lens in a good condition, you will probably save your money, because if you don't switch systems, all the lenses you buy, they will serve you. The third point I'd like to make is that you can transform the excitement about buying new gear to excitement of using your gear. For example, I have this tiny Ricoh GR camera here, and every time I take it in my hand, I just enjoy the way it's tailored, I just like how it's built, I like how it feels, I like overall build quality and design and philosophy of this camera. And Ricoh says that you should use your GR till it's all covered in scratches. And I totally agree with this idea that you can enjoy using your gear even if you're not opening the box. So the question here is, how do you enjoy using your gear instead of enjoy opening the box? I think it's very important to pick up the camera, the lens and other gear you really like, not just the way it performs but also the way it looks. For example, the GR I've just showed you has like a grey brownish color and I really like it. I really like how it looks. Or if we take Fuji lenses, I just like that they are all metal built, that they have the aperture ring which clicks so nicely and so on. It's really nice to appreciate the work the engineers and the designers of a particular camera or lens have done, because they are doing a great job on creating all these beautiful pieces of technology for us. And my final point is that it is possible to prioritize spendings on workshops and travel rather than on buying new gear. For example, you want to buy a new lens and you realize that probably you may not need it, but you sleep one night, another night, and you keep thinking about this particular lens. What can you do? You can think about a travel opportunity you may have if you do not make this spending. Or, for example, you may take a great workshop, and when you realize that all the gear spendings, all unnecessary gear spendings may be transferred into something which will make you a better photographer, which will transfer into something you will never forget. When you travel, when you go for workshops, you just have a lot of memories, a lot of impressions you will never forget. When you sell your gear, it's just gone, but your impressions about travel, your knowledge you get at the workshop, they are not gone, they will stay with you forever. So for me, there is nothing wrong in buying new gear, but I try to make sure that my travel and learning expenses are my priority. And I also want to make sure that I don't want just to open the box and be happy about buying a new piece of gear, but I'm actually going to enjoy using this piece of gear. But I like to make a little remark in this respect. There are maybe people around who have a lot of money who just like buying new toys, and maybe for them the joy of opening the box may be their number one priority. And I don't think there is anything bad about it too, because the main thing is to be happy. So what do you think about the gas? Do you have it? How do you embrace it? I would like to learn about your experience in the comment section. If you consider subscribing on this channel, I would be very thankful. Have a great day.